podcast listeners. I am so happy to have Kyira Wackett, licensed professional counselor, here again to co-host this podcast with me. And I'm going to start off with just asking her a really fun question. It will be fun for me and maybe for you, but probably not for Kyira. But Kyira is so open because she is herself a therapist, and I'm not going to just assume all therapists are open, because they're not. But she is a very open person, which is why she is so much fun for me to have a conversation with and record it and share it with you. So let's start with asking Kyira. She just told me a little secret that she struggles with people being mad at her, or at least she has in the past. So Kyira, tell me about how it's hard to have people angry with you.
I love it, because I think as you ask this question, even listeners are going to go, oh, I don't find this fun either, because if you asked me this question, I would hate it, because nobody likes to talk about this. I think, it's interesting now having a 6-year-old, I can reflect back on what it was like being her age and people being mad at me. And I think so much of my childhood and my desires there were around, I don't ever want to be a disappointment, and I don't ever want to cause anybody else stress, disruption, pain. And so people being mad at me isn't just I have to deal with someone being upset at me and not liking me. It's I have now caused them some sort of a negative piece as well. So there's kind of this double side of it. And I think as a kid, and particularly, I know we've talked about this in past episodes, being a very parentified child, I put together a framework of what I thought it meant to be a caretaker. And I think the caretaker is supposed to be able to manage everybody else and take care of things, not cause pain. And so sort of a childlike interpretation of adulthood is, well, you're not supposed to do the wrong thing. You're not supposed to cause pain. You're supposed to fix it and hold it. And so I think that's probably the foundation that I had. And then being that anxious high performer, and that really being my self-imposed antidote to shame. If I can be everything, do everything, be high achieving, people are going to think I'm worthy. I think making somebody upset at you, and again, causing disruption, causing harm, and them seeing you as wrong in whatever caveat, whatever things, asterisk we want to put around that, but wrong, I think, is kind of the internal feeling. Those are all threats. And so they were things to be avoided at all costs, whether that was 15-year-old me, that even if my friends did something hurtful, I wouldn't say anything. I would absorb it. I would give them a pass. I'd always have a reason. I would never tell them how I felt. Or getting older, and my husband and I have been together for 16 years, but we've talked about this early in our relationship, not telling him how I felt because I never wanted him to feel hurt, bad, wrong, mad at me. So it was just be easy, be the smoother, be the grease and everything. And so I think because you build decades around a behavior where I didn't necessarily experience fallout every time that something would happen, but I had hyped it up so much in my brain that if and when people are mad at me, it's going to mean this catastrophic thing. That now my brain almost sees that as reality, even though that is still just a perception and a projection. And I can't always differentiate between the two.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that's really interesting. I'm hearing super codependent, like you are responsible for everyone else's feelings, but not yours.
Right.
Which is, in my book, that is the definition of codependency. I don't care what your life looks like, but if you feel or believe at some implicit level you're responsible to or for other people's feelings, and you're not being responsible for your own, you're codependent. So that is what you were conditioned to, how you were conditioned to live and see the world and see yourself. And this shame element that if someone was unhappy, if someone was angry with you, you failed them, right? And that goes hand in hand because you're responsible for their feelings. So now you failed them, and that's going to create shame, right? Yeah. I mean, thank you for naming that.
Like when my mom, I remember still, we were just talking about this when she came to visit a couple of months ago. I never allowed myself to ever tell her how I felt or ever call her out when she was in the midst of her really serious substance use.
Mm.
When she was, when I was 10 to probably 17, and those years, I would never tell her how I felt because I never wanted her to feel angry or sad, because I assumed that if I caused those feelings, I would cause a relapse. I would cause
Wow.
some sort of tension, some sort of detachment, some sort of
Yeah.
lack of love for her that would make her work even harder. And so again, assigning a responsibility to something that wasn't mine, and not wanting somebody to be mad at me, because if they're mad, they might leave.
Yeah.
And that's what I conditioned, is if somebody's upset, if someone's anything that's negative, quote unquote negative, they'll leave. And I've had too much leaving, so I can't risk it anymore.
That's right. That's right. And abandonment is just the other side of the coin here. So if we behave shamefully, if we fail someone, if we fail to be responsible for their feelings, they'll abandon us. And I think that is universally true for all of us, but we just don't realize it. It's not conscious. So it's interesting too, because you brought up your 6-year-old daughter. I remember when my daughter was little, I remember another mom, our daughters would hang out all the time. She actually looked me in the eyes one day and she said, "You can say no to her." And I'm like, I can't, and I couldn't figure out why at the time. And I did say no to her, but it was so hard for me. It was so unnatural. And it wasn't until just a few years ago, I had a client who was dealing with the same thing. And, being on this side of it and having that objectivity, I said, "It seems like you're afraid of her being disappointed with you and rejecting you if you say no." And she's like, "Absolutely." And I'm like, oh my God, that is what I was operating out from. Like, that is exactly why I couldn't say no to Edie, because I was afraid of her rejection. Let's move to what you can do, what we can do as the adults for ourselves, because you are, you're human. You're wanting that approval from your daughter. And I was the same way. And that's not fair to them. No. But let's be honest. We all want that. Let's be honest. All humans want that. We do. They're our attachment figure, and it's not reasonable, but it's human to still want it. And that's okay. That's not shameful. But let's talk about how you can, Kyira, give yourself that approval. So, can I have you do a little exercise right now?
Always.
Okay. So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine you're back to where you were, and Everly is not picking you. She's not choosing you. And she's wanting Jordan. And just tell me, as you imagine that, what your body feels.
Well, I don't know why this one's coming. I'm having two. I'm having one that relates to my mom, but the one that's really loud right now is actually with teachers.
Oh, wow.
And so I don't know.
Just share it.
It's weird. Yeah. I don't know why this one's coming up, but my mom went to prison, for context, right when I started high school. So I think high school was a very weird time for me. Because I didn't want anybody to know that she was there. I was grappling with, I was close to my grandma, but I think I was looking for confidants maybe in adults. And so I remember really seeking out teachers. I was often somebody that would stay after class. I would develop these deeper relationships with teachers.
Yeah.
And I'm remembering this feeling when I was inducted into the National Honor Society. And when you do that, you have to pick a teacher to be your sponsor. So they read a speech, they talk about you. And I remember my French teacher being so proud of me. And I think because we were really close, had made the assumption that she was going to be my sponsor. But I had planned on inviting my biology teacher. And I lied to her. And I told her I picked her because I saw this feeling in her of, I'm going to hurt her. I'm going to reject her. And I didn't want her to not feel picked. So it's
Wow.
a weird feeling I'm having where I think I'm projecting it onto someone else. I don't actually have
Yeah.
any memories of me feeling it. It's all about me feeling like someone else had it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until she found out when the books were printed that she wasn't picked. And I couldn't face her. I couldn't talk to her for weeks. And I'm just thinking about that and feeling like I don't ever want someone to not feel picked. I'm sure there's a core memory of that for me, but it's not resonating with the feeling in the body. The feeling in my body, it's like an anxious feeling now in the fingertips. Like they're cold, but now they're tingly, and it feels like I want to, like you can see it for people watching the video, like I'm moving my hands. Like I want to move the energy out. And it's this like angsty, I've got to get out of here because I did something to someone. So I don't know why that one is there, but that feels really loud. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with that. So you're like 15?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So let's do this. I want you to imagine, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine you're seeing the look on the French teacher's face that you're realizing, oh man, she's going to be so hurt. And tell me what your body feels when you see that look on her face that you didn't pick her.
I just feel terrible. Like I don't ever want to cause somebody that feeling like they're not worth being picked.
Okay. Yeah, I can see with your affect, you're tearing up even. Okay. So let's do this. I want you to close your eyes again. I want you to see 15-year-old Kyira. And I want you to imagine you go to her and you look her in the eyes and you say, Kyira, it's so beautiful how much empathy you have. I love that about you. But I need you to see what I see. I need you to see that you are projecting onto this teacher, I think, everything you feel at home with your mom or have felt at home with your mom, because you see her as fragile, just like our mom is so fragile, so fragile. And you feel like she could fall apart and you feel so responsible for her. And maybe you've seen that same look in our mom's eyes. Maybe we've seen it a lot, especially when she started going back to drinking and using. Maybe she struggled when we became older, when we became 8, 9, and 10, with seeing us want to be with our friends more than want to be with her, which is developmentally appropriate for a young child. But our mom couldn't handle it because she is so fragile. But Kyira, I need you to see the truth. I need you to see what I see. I need you to see that you are not responsible for her feelings. You never were. Our mom is the only one who has the power to be responsible for her feelings. It's always been her job, and she has never lived into it. But that is her problem. It's not actually possible to be responsible for other people or for their feelings. And it's not your job. It is your job to only be responsible for your feelings. And so, young Kyira, I am going to help you with that now, because I will be that consistent attachment figure, the healthy one that you need, who's not fragile, who doesn't communicate my own fragility to you. And I am going to help you live within those universal parameters that bring order and life and flourishing, where we are only responsible to other people and never responsible for them. And so I'm going to take all that shame that you feel, because you feel like you have this innate amount of power to hurt people, and that creates this shame. We're going to put all that shame that you feel in this cardboard box, and we're going to throw it in the heart of the ocean. Because, my friend, that is not your shame. You are not that powerful. Our mom has surrendered her own power, but that's on her. That is not on you. And now I'm going to feel angry with you and for you, because that anger that we can feel, not that our mom is all bad, but we can feel anger at her refusal to be responsible for her own feelings. We can feel that. That is healthy and that is good and it is necessary because that anger creates the boundaries that we need.
With these other adults in my life that have come into these parent roles, I do have a lot of anger and I still do. And I think the thing I struggle with, I'm sure you see this with your clients and listeners, you can relate to this, is sometimes I'm just angry because it's like, I know the work is fucking hard. I did it. Like, I don't want to give you a pass because you just didn't do it. And then everybody colludes with your lack of doing the shit, like if it's, well, forgive them, they're your grandparent, or you don't know how long your mom's going to be alive, or if you stop talking to this person, think about how it affects these people, or you don't want to be the dramatic daughter-in-law, right? And it's like, wait a minute, all of this, I get angry at the world because it perpetuates that story of it's easier if I just stay silent and I don't get angry. And then I think the protection is, so then just don't make them angry and don't make them this. And like just appease everyone rather than get to that place of anger to then set the boundaries that you need. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. And I will say, I think one of the main reasons everyone tells us, you don't want to upset her or you're her daughter or whatever, is because where they're at. They're in denial of their own parents and doing the work themselves, and they're wanting to accept their parents as is. And yeah, you're seeing their own immaturity show up, and you're being very provocative by saying, that makes me angry. And they're like, oh no, don't make me feel my anger at my parent.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to have to face this thing because I'm in my sort of predictably shitty normed space where I've grown accustomed to these feelings and this avoidance and these strategies. And that is, I mean, I think that's where sometimes when I get to the place, like with my mom, what I had to move through once I did allow myself to feel that anger and then to recognize the role that was always hers that she didn't take, was then the grief of knowing not just I won't get that back as a kid, but I'm not going to have it moving forward. And I think sometimes when you think of all these other people and the ways and the spaces and relationships you're not going to get all these things met, it's beautiful that we can give it to ourselves. It's beautiful that we have this. And I do think, if I'm bringing it full circle, sometimes I think that's the loneliness that I feel too, is sometimes being self-assured is actually really lonely, even though I'd rather be self-assured and give myself that love. It has meant a type of grief I don't think I was prepared for when I started doing this work.
Yeah, I get that. I feel very alone in just honestly who I can be friends with, like my daughter talks about this a lot. She's so mature at age 22 and she's like, Mom, it's hard to find other, young women at my age who have it together enough to understand where I'm coming from. A lot of people will try to talk me out of my feelings, or I'll have to do psycho ed on them so they understand me. And I just want someone who does understand me, And I'm like, I feel the same way. It's not really a friendship if you're understanding them and they can't understand you back.
Yeah.
It is really lonely. Yeah.
And how do you get to a place where sometimes I think what I have to recognize is it isn't true that no one can give me that. And sometimes recognizing that that is a skill, a gift, an insight. It's something I have, and not as a arrogance, like I'm better, I'm that. Although sometimes when I get angry, I do let myself have that pity party of like, man, I feel like my friends get the better end of the deal. And that's not true anymore. But I think what I also had to recognize is that some of that was actually me recapitulating patterns and seeking out consciously, subconsciously, who knows, but seeking out relationships where I constantly was feeling that way. And then sort of enmeshing myself back into these caretaking roles only to resent and repeat these patterns, I think probably to feel the things that were unresolved from my own childhood through these other relationships.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We all have that, our own role to play in those familiar spaces that feel so comfortable to us, for sure.
But I remember a time where I had gotten a phone call. My mom's and my phone numbers are almost identical. It's just the last two numbers are switched. And I got a phone call from somebody connected in the drug world. I think it was a dealer, but somebody who called me saying that I owed them money. And they obviously thought they got my mom on the phone. And I was pushing back. I was like, I'm not her. I don't know what you're talking about. And at the time had been under the assumption that my mom was now sober and that things were better. And I remember that moment of feeling like she's always going to pick herself over me.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if there's something more under that. Like, again, I'm only able to tap into times when I'm older right now. I'm not able to access some of those earlier things. I'm sure if I sat with it longer, but there's probably something there of she's never going to choose me no matter how useful I prove to be. And my only way of controlling that is I just kept trying to figure out how to be more and more useful. And then in these other relationships, it would at least make me feel like I wasn't left behind, even if I never really felt connected.
Yeah. What are you feeling in your body when you say that, when you kind of just summarize that you had this epiphany that your mom was never going to choose you, really? She's always going to choose her.
I think one of the things that I am feeling is, this one's common. I think every single time we talk about my body, it happens a lot. So there's definitely a theme of I want to run. Like there is a vibration. I also really, like if I put it into a healthy translation, it's like my body feels like I just want to go play, hard rap music and lift weights. If I was being honest about what my unfiltered self would want to do, is probably I want to break something. Like I feel an agitation of like, I want to punch something.
Okay.
And I want to throw a tantrum a little, like a little bit of like, I want to feel like I am stomping my feet and I'm almost like walking through the Goodwill aisle and throwing shit on the floor. Like that's what my body feels like it wants to run and do right now.
Okay. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to feel that and tell me where you're feeling that, where it's showing up.
So I'm having like, I definitely still have the cold fingers, but it's like my whole arms now just feel like just about like, it's almost like that fall asleep feel tingly, but not fall asleep. It's like there's like everything's moving like really fast. And my right foot feels, it's interesting how much cold seems to be a theme. It feels cold and like it wants to move. And I'm feeling a little bit of like, I can't quite discern if this is thoughts or if this is just a buzzing of sound, but like my head feels a little like, like a little of that like whoosh, like an adrenaline rush feel, but I can't tell if it's because it's having a lot of thoughts or if it's just the actual sensation.
Okay. So I want you to stay with your eyes closed. Okay. Tell me what your foot wants to do. Does it want to kick something?
No, it wants to like, it's like wanting to move. Like it just wants to, it's like a agitation feel. It doesn't, the part that wants to do something is my arm, my right arm.
Your arm wants to punch, you said.
Yeah.
What does it want to punch? And anything goes. It could be your mom's face. This is
Yeah.
fantasy.
No, it feels more like actually, weirdly, it's like I don't want. That's so funny. Like it's almost like when my brain went, I don't know if it said I want to punch because that might hurt. My brain literally went to maybe we want to smash something, and then I pictured like those smash rooms, and I think it's like that sledgehammer feel, like something that it's like I want to do something that feels like it's heavy, like it has a big impact. But for some reason, it's like as soon as you said, "What does it want to punch?" my hand went, "Oh, I actually don't want to do that because I don't want to feel the pain afterward. I just want to break shit."
Okay. And if all that
Interesting.
shattering could speak, if that tantrum had words, if the smashing had words, what would those words be? We're talking in the context of your mom. It's not about your feelings. It's always about hers. She's always choosing her, not you.
I mean, right now, I think the blaring thing in my head is just a giant fuck you. Like,
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
and I'm feeling it towards her and a couple other people I'm moving through that with right now, too. Like, I'm feeling I can see a few of them in like almost like I'm in a smash room and there's like that mirrored thing where I can see them, but they can't see me and I can see them all. And it's like, I just want to scream, fuck you, just for like a minute. And just like how I want them to like, it's so interesting how much I'm trying to protect them even in this moment. Because I want to do it, and immediately my brain goes, but you don't want them to feel bad.
No. I want you to say to your brain, brain, you're on a timeout. We'll
Okay.
come back to you later. You're offline. Just the body, just these fantasies, just the urges. There's no judgment. There's no tampering with this. This is just our body.
It's almost like I want them to feel like there's a screaming sound that I can picture just being like, notice me. And then the other thing that I'm feeling is like, it's like I can't quite articulate it. The closest thing I can think of is like, the world doesn't revolve around you.
Okay. So what the words would be, they'd start with a fuck you.
Yeah. Yep.
And then maybe something like, I matter. I matter too. Would that summarize what your body wants to say right now?
It almost feels like it's interesting. Once I said it's not about you, that feels louder than me even wanting to say I matter. So I don't know if in my head it's like I just want them to feel small more than I want to feel seen.
Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to have you imagine you're speaking to them.
Okay.
And I want you to say out loud. So it's your mom and these other people. You don't have to name the other people, but just for the purposes of this exercise, I want you to say out loud. I want you to imagine you're looking them in the eyes. They can hear you, and you say out loud, fuck you. It's not all about you.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me how your body feels once you say that out loud.
My brain's really mad you put it on timeout.
Sorry, brain. This is going to benefit everyone.
I need everyone to know that I'm not a shitty person right now. It feels...
No judgment.
And in this artificial scenario, we're going to pretend like they heard it and they didn't immediately cut me off. They actually heard it.
Yeah, but you have to say out loud.
I think in the moment, if I were like, fuck you, it's not about you. The immediate follow-up in my head is, you're the fucking problem. You are the problem.
Oh, you want to say that to them?
I want to say that to them. You are the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You fucking did this.
Yep.
And if I could say all that, it's almost like I feel like an adrenaline rush, which is probably because in my head, I'm imagining I like threw shit and screamed, but I feel an adrenaline rush, and I feel like what I would immediately want to do is to let my shoulders down and then walk away.
Okay.
Like
I want you to do that. I want you in your mind's eye.
Okay.
You say all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just let your shoulders down and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And how does your body feel right now?
Good. Feels like a calmer vibration. I think I'd still almost like a more positive vibration, if that makes sense. Like it's still kind of humming, but it doesn't feel like I'm like, whew, I feel good, I'm at peace. It feels more like a freedom, like I'm free from this feeling like I can't just fucking call you out. Like I just don't want to protect you anymore from the shit that you're responsible for. Like that's the feeling in my head, is like I'm done. Like I took the cape off. Like it feels like a relief, but now it's like, now I want to go to like a kickboxing class. That's how my body is like wanting to feel.
So like a freedom, a release.
Yeah.
Yeah. And an energy, a new energy, a good energy.
It feels like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how about the cold? Is there any more cold? Let's just check for that.
A little in my fingertips, but not as much as there was before, and the rest of my body not so much.
Okay. Well, let's pause there. I think that was phenomenal, Kyira, and I want to unpack, I think, what was going on.
Yeah.
So I associate the cold. I have clients who feel cold in their bodies with hatred. And don't judge, no judgment, okay? Because hatred is a natural human emotion that naturally occurs when someone is so selfish, so unsafe, so narcissistic, like what you're talking about, where they make everything always about them, especially someone like a parent, where it's their job description to make it all about us, right? And so I think your body, but you're disassociating from the hatred. You're not allowing yourself to actually say, yeah, I kind of fucking hate my mom sometimes. And so when we disassociate, it shows up in our body. And I think that's what the cold was.
Yeah.
Plus the anger, you wanting to have a tantrum. So the mixture of those two, I think we just really expressed and externalized out of your body into words. And that's why, words are the solution. Rage rooms aren't the solution. They might make us feel relieved temporarily, but without the words, without expressing our feelings into the words, the meaning out of our bodies. And it doesn't have to be a confrontation with anyone. It can just be in fantasy like we're doing. That is the catharsis.
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely resonate with that. And I think particularly as I'm watching these moving models of these different people in my life, and you can see, and this is something I'm sure you talk about with your clients all the time, that there's different charges. Like there's been some shifts in work with my mom of my own radical acceptance, my own grieving, where she doesn't in this moment charge me in the same way. But I also know that I'm still very much like, I don't trust her, and I'm angry that I don't trust her. And I hate that. And I hate that when I'm around her, I feel so responsible to make sure she doesn't feel bad still. But what I noticed when she was here a couple months ago, Everly came up to me midway through the visit and she goes, "Why are you the parent?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" Like thinking she was talking about her. Like, why am I her parent? What does that mean? I thought maybe it was like, what is parent? What is this? And she's like, well, why are you more the parent than grandma?
Wow.
And I was like, oh, well, that's good. This is great. Like we can, sure. Like, let's unpack that.
Wow.
And it is really hard because I think there's still some of those emotions, but again, I think I'm now sort of mired in a bit of pity, but also like there's some protection there, because if I just assume she can't do those things, I'm not as disappointed when she can't do those things. And so I think there's some pieces there, but I think there is still some, like, you just don't want to do it. And I hate that. I hate that you're not, that you, and that maybe that's the connection, is you won't pick me because I'm asking you to do it and you won't do it. And I know that I shouldn't make my happiness dependent on you. And it's not, And like, I just couldn't imagine Everly telling me if I was hurting her this way, not wanting to do the work to figure my shit out. And so I think that's probably the full circle piece. And I think sometimes the idea of not, oh boy, this is interesting. It's not fully fleshed out because I think I'm having the insight right now. But if we go back to the beginning and her not choosing me, I think it's this idea of if she didn't choose me, like in that moment where she suddenly wanted Jordan more, which again, logically makes sense. We just had a hard interaction. Of course, she's going to want her dad to read a book. But in my mind, the way I interpret it is I didn't do that right. I fucked up and probably my own stuff got in the way. I didn't do the work. And I think there's something in my head about it shouldn't be that hard to be safe for your kids. And so there's in my mind, if she didn't pick me, it's because I fucked up and I'm not safe, not because it could just be a healthy choice that a kid makes, because I've never made that choice just as like a healthy aging adult. I've only made those choices of not quote unquote picking her or picking my grandma or picking my mother-in-law, all these women that were parent figures. The not picking, the moving them out of a lens of safety was out of necessity for survival and pain. And so I don't think my brain can reconcile in those moments. Everly might not pick me, and it actually has nothing to do with whether or not I'm a good mom. That's just normal, because to me, it would be a representation that I have failed, just like every one of those women have failed me. And my brain does not like that I just said that last part. My brain feels like I was being a dick and I was being judgmental on those
your
women.
Brain.
So it's so funny how much it's like,
no.
walk that back. But I think there's something in this, because I can feel now my body's like, it's like an excited bounce, like almost like a galloping feeling of like, there's something in here. There's something about how I'm getting charged in these moments, and probably it's the excitement. If I can figure it out, I can fix it, which of course my control brain loves that too and wants to fix it. But yeah, there's something in that. Like there's a full circle moment in all of this around being picked, around showing up, around rejection.
So I want to go back to you saying you hate that you don't trust your mom. And Kyira, she has not been a trustworthy person your whole life, and she has failed to win your trust even now. So of course you don't trust her. Why are you judging that? Like your brain just wants to judge everything. Your brain has been brainwashed, and there's no judgment for that. And I think what you're also seeing is you are a trustworthy mom, which is why your daughter can pick her dad and doesn't have to feel responsible for your feelings. Do you see that?
Yes. But my brain doesn't like that part, because then I think it's my shame brain doesn't like that. My shame brain would like it if I was the problem and likes to keep me there. And I think when it does that, it's very interesting.
Oh, I know why. We want to believe we're the problem. Kids want to believe they're the problem because they have control to fix themselves. But if they realize, oh shit, it's the parent, now I have zero agency. That's helpless. Yeah. That feels helpless and hopeless.
Yeah. And I think there is this thing too. Sometimes I do think I charge myself when you said something that's really hitting me around the responsibility I took for my teacher. But I think I'm recognizing this has come up in many different conversations with my husband, where I fear that I have somehow we'll make a decision like buying our house or moving across the country. And then I'll get it in my head that I've somehow manipulated him out of making the choice that he wants, even though I know logically he was fully involved. Yeah. And I think I feel sometimes like as I'm going through this. And so with my mom, the stakes were different because it's just me and my mom. I didn't feel like I was influencing anybody. In fact, I always felt like I was trying to hold the middle ground between the rest of my family, cutting her off, and her. With my grandma, it was a weird dynamic where it was a lot of my own family's dysfunction coming out. And as I was breaking the cycle, I became a threat. I can see that. now give myself the forgiveness and the love that I deserved from them that I never got. But I'm now watching this come up, and I feel like I am not the dictator, but I'm the most vocal, even with my in-laws, around these patterns and what I'm seeing. And I am ferociously fighting against having relationships with people that I don't want to feel that way again. And I'm very protective as Everly is getting older of what I see playing out with her and a responsibility that's not hers. And so I am putting this distance up. And I think sometimes the story in my head is that I don't, almost like I don't want to be the person that's constantly saying like everybody else is like, what if I'm the problem is maybe the story underneath. Like maybe I'm just not as tolerant of people. Maybe I should be more tolerant. Maybe I'm actually like, I'm almost gaslighting myself backwards and feeling responsible for making sure however any of this moves forward, everyone's good. My daughter, my husband, my sister-in-law, like that everybody is good and taken care of and loved. And ultimately, none of that is my responsibility at all. But I'm somehow enmeshed in that in a way that I think goes back to that codependence that you mentioned in the beginning.
Yeah, which goes back to little Kyira not wanting to see her mom, you know, the truth about mom, wanting to blame it on herself because at least she can control that. And I feel like that's showing up now. That's what you're kind of saying, right?
And if I say it, then I made them mad and I hurt them. And I don't want to hurt them by telling them how they're hurting me. And now I'm exactly where I was as a kid.
Yeah, right. Except you have you now.
Yeah. Well, what do you think is because I think there's so much of this work that I've done, so much that I sit with. And if I'm trying to keep my logic brain out, I'm trying not to therapize myself right now and being like, just be a human. What do you see as being that? Because for me to go, I have me now, requires a sense of self-trust that I am resistant to give myself.
Okay, we need to get rid of that shame.
Yeah.
That's the shame brain. Okay, so let's do this. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to see, let's do this. This is a good one. I want you to see baby Kyira. She's just a newborn. She's newly hatched. Okay. And I want you to imagine you go to her and you pick her up and you swaddle her and you hold her in your arms and you look her in the eyes and you say, baby Kyira, I see that you already are believing you're the problem already, even at this tender young age, because you experienced the emotional neglect of our mom already. Of course you do. She can't really attune to you because she's so caught up in herself, and you see that, but you don't want to see that because that makes you feel hopeless. And I don't blame you, but I need you to see that I'm here now and you have me now. And I'll be rescuing you from her and from this life. I'm taking you home with me to the real home where you will always have your needs met and you will always have the emotional attunement you need and deserve, where it really will be about you, where you are the priority, not me. I'm rescuing you. And so now we can take all that shame that you feel from feeling like you're failing her, and we can put it in this cardboard box and we can give it back to her and say, no, this is yours, Mom, because you're refusing to be responsible for yourself. You're already putting it on our baby daughter, and we have to give it back. And I want you to say, little Kyira, you belong with me and you will always have me. And I will never abandon you again. And I'm so sorry I have. I had no idea all this time you've needed me or how powerful I am for you. But now we have each other and you have my approval. You have my acceptance. There's nothing left for you to prove. and you will never feel not chosen ever again.
It's equal parts like freedom and quiet. If I could just get to a place where I didn't leave every single interaction feeling like I somehow did something wrong or have some sort of shame thought in my brain. But then there's also this sense of, I guess I can't tell if it's excitement or anxiety, because they both sit in that same place of just kind of like that little bit of chest movement is, am I anxious or excited about the opportunity to not feel like my sense of belonging is so enmeshed with other people's happiness and well-being? And am I feeling that sense of freedom, or am I feeling that sense of loneliness? And maybe part of it is, how do I integrate both and make peace with that? But there's something with that piece that I can like, it sort of buzzes right in my chest in here. Like the rest of my body got quiet, but the chest kind of went, yeah, okay, but then what? So there's still something there.
Is it kind of like well, who am I then?
Yeah, maybe it's like, well, what if I didn't worry about that? What if I didn't? And
Like,
I think sometimes,
do with myself if I don't?
like if I don't filter everything through a lens of taking care of everybody else. Again, it's so interesting that the one place that I like don't do that is professionally. I am so clear in my head. I carry no shame when I finish a session. If I have feedback, if someone doesn't like working with me, if I miss the mark, if I land it, like I don't feel any of that somehow. But in anything outside of that role, it's like Everly doesn't want to play with some kid who really wants to play with her, but that kid's been kind of mean to her, and now she moves on, and I see the parent's face and I'm thinking, I don't want that parent to think that their kid's being rejected. Like, why do I care? It's so much work.
Yeah.
And so I think you're right. There's something, I don't know, I'm going to sit with that visual of holding me and holding her for a while and think, what is it that I need to take that I've learned that I can give to me?
So tell me, you feel something here. It feels
Yeah.
like maybe excitement, but also maybe anxiety.
Yeah.
And okay. So I want you to feel that. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to say to your body, Kyira, this new space, I know it feels uncomfortable and very unfamiliar, but this is us. This is space for us to fill.
I wonder if a part of it too is I have projected so much fear on what would happen if I did allow what you just said to be true. And that it's almost like maybe it needs to be, maybe there's some exposure that's required of saying, but I want this. It's like I was talking to somebody on my podcast the other day about dating, and she said that dating is really hard and scary, and she's married to her husband now, and she talked about like, even if that relationship ended, the fear of finding somebody and like having a good partnership, like it's scary for people, but she would want companionship more than she would be guided by the fear of a bad dating pool. So she would be willing to take on potentially things that are hard and scary because that outcome is really important.
Yeah.
And I think there's something I need to tether, like a freedom that I think it's not that I can't see it. I think it's that I have to make the decision that I deserve that to then tether myself to it, to decide now I'm allowed to make the choices that allow me to have that. And there are going to be shitty interactions in doing that. But again, that's the work of then detaching from somebody else being upset with me because I say no, because I don't feel safe and supported, and then defending their actions and choosing these things, saying, gosh, that's actually more data to suggest I can't trust them. And that I don't have to constantly accommodate somebody else's lack of ownership in their own life, and being able to start to see those things play out. So it sounds like, my brain is starting to hold it a little bit stronger. Like my shame brain's a little less loud right now, But I think the practical application is a place I'm going to have to really bring this in, because I think I'm very easily swayed by, all shame has to do is be like, but then you'd be an asshole. And then I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. We shouldn't say anything. We'll just be quiet. And so I think I have to say, and what if it does? Or what if they do? And allow
How
that.
about according to who?
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, according to who? Yeah, maybe according to them, but consider the
It's
source.
true.
I mean, here, Kyira, if
That's
we
true.
don't employ critical thinking, we're going to take the shame other people give us. We're just going to take it and take it and take it. If we don't engage and think critically, like, who is this person? You know,
Yeah.
even a well-intentioned person has their own bias. Everyone
Right.
does. So that's what I'd say. Yeah, an asshole according to who? All that matters is the audience of one. If I know I'm not trying to be an asshole, I'm just being true to myself, then you know what? I don't care what they think because I know what is true and no one can dissuade me from that.
I like that. I think I'll let that sit and kind of percolate along with, I'm still really holding on to that image of the two babies. And I think allowing those two things to percolate for a while feels like a really good place to,
Okay.
yeah, just allow some reflection, versus the other part of me is often like, well, yeah, but so then here's what we do and we fix it and I'll go put this into practice today. And I think that urgency piece versus that sitting with it is also that kind of creating a self-fulfilling prophecy to put you back in shame, because you're trying to rush to fix, to control, rather than to integrate and embody. And so I can tell there's definitely still something in it to sit with, and probably also not feeling like I have to make sure that everybody else is okay because I'm going to be an inconvenience making the choices that other people can't make or don't want to make, or,
So let's do one more thing. I want you
Okay.
to close your eyes, see little Kyira, baby Kyira,
Okay.
and I want you to say, baby Kyira, I am responsible for you. I am not responsible for those other people. I'm responsible to them, but I am responsible for you. And I'm sorry that I've really sucked at that. I'm so sorry I have not done that. I have not lived according to that. I have felt responsible for everyone and not been responsible for you. And I'm realizing it's mutually exclusive. It is an either or. So right now, starting right now, I choose you. I choose you. You are my priority. Your feelings matter. And you know what? They really matter. They're valid, and I trust that they are good. And they tell me exactly what you need. And I will make sure those needs get met. That is my responsibility. So from here on out, I will be responsible for you. Please forgive me for being so ambivalent about that. But you come first. You're my priority from here on out.
Okay, I have one final question for you then. Thoughts from you on how you would move forward.
Yeah.
Because you've said something that I think again, if I put my therapy hat on, I know it, but I'm trying to keep that hat off right now. And I really want to like let myself be seen rather than kind of hide it behind, I think, logic. One of the things I struggle with, my pattern, my historical pattern then, is when I get to any sense of that anger, I just cut off, which I think is like a trend in the world right now. Everybody's like,
cut off your what?
Cut off whatever the relationship is. I'm just done. I won't engage with you anymore. I'm over it. I'm apathetic, and it's very hard for me to come back. And I know where emotionally that cutoff was helpful as a kid because it would hurt so much. And I do think in the right circumstances, and there are times where ending a relationship is really important.
Sure.
What I struggle with in this is I think about moving forward and how I show up for myself. How is there a question I could ask myself or something I could spend some time on to know again, I'm thinking about one of these specific relationships right now. There's a lot of murkiness in the air, and I've actually communicated my feelings pretty directly,
Mhm.
shared how I felt. We're in sort of an ambiguous state of what happens when we go back to Wisconsin. Do we see them? I'm not really sure that I want Everly to be around them.
Yeah.
It's also not my call to say whether or not the rest of my family spends time with them. What's a question I could ask myself
Yeah.
to sit with? What's the next step? Is it a conversation? Is it a follow-up conversation to the email exchange? Is it, I don't really
No, no,
want to
no.
have it,
Kira,
okay,
Kira.
okay,
So that's a great question. I want you to think of this person that you're alluding
okay,
to and
okay,
feel whatever your body feels
okay.
and tell me what it feels.
It's so interesting. Both my feet just started moving. I feel so, it's like icky. It's like in my back. Mm.
It's in your back
It's like like nails on a blackboard feeling. Like I feel disgust and anger.
and your feet want to run away from them? Is that
Yeah.
why your feet don't want
Yeah.
to be around them?
And I'm like, I can feel that I want to like mad cry right now. Like
Okay, okay.
it's
So
there.
I want
Yeah.
you to close your eyes and say to your
Okay.
body, Kira, those are valid feelings and they are good feelings because they tell us the truth. I'm listening to you. These feelings matter and they tell me what you need. So help me understand. I'm listening. What do we need? Do we need just to cut them off because you're saying you want to run away? Is there anything else you want me to know?
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like right here in my throat that just feels almost like like swells up. It feels like it's a symbol of like, just like, don't say anything. Like it's not
Oh, okay. So the
like,
throat is
almost
saying
like a quiet, like I don't want to talk anymore. I'm done talking.
the throat is saying it's
Like
hopeless.
it's less, I think hopeless is part of it. It feels unsafe. It
Oh, okay.
doesn't feel
Yeah.
safe.
Right.
And I think it feels, yeah, that's the like, that's the screaming word, is like, it is not safe. No matter what we say, it is not going to be received. I think that's that hopeless piece. But no
Mm.
matter what I say, it's going to be twisted in a way that is
Yeah.
always going to perpetuate a victim story. And
Yeah.
I don't feel safe in
Mhm.
that. And I have spent many years colluding with that to
Mhm.
make peace. And I think it feels like, if I were being really honest to little me, and I actually had to deal with this the other day, where I thought, I don't ever want Everly to see them again. And my sister-in-law and I were talking. She goes, is it about Everly or is it about you? And it was an interesting, and now as we've been doing a lot of this go back to younger me, I think it's probably younger me of
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. The
I don't
younger you
ever,
has
yeah,
so much wisdom for Everly too.
yeah,
So, okay, so that
okay,
makes sense because you're feeling disgust, and disgust is how we feel. Hate and disgust are one and the same.
okay,
And that's what we feel when someone is unsafe. We feel disgusted. Just like when we pass by roadkill with a young child, we don't need to teach them disgust. They naturally feel it and it naturally says, stay
mm,
away. That is
yeah,
unsafe, right? So that's good. Um, so your body's saying, this is futile.
mm-hmm,
This is futile. So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to picture this person. And now I want you to shrug your shoulders and say, I give up. I surrender. I give up false hope. I should have done this a long time ago, but now I'm at a place where I am 100% trusting me and I give up on
mm.
you. I have to give up on you. And tell me how your body feels when you do that.
Feels like that tingly part, that like disgust feeling, but like kind of that nails on blackboard. There's like that like hair on the back of your neck feeling before, and it feels like almost like I could,
Mm.
the metaphor in my head is, it felt like I went from sitting with my back to the whole restaurant to being in the corner, like where I could see everything and I felt like a safer position. It feels safer. I don't feel like I'm on edge. And I think that's a lot of what I have been feeling is the lack of predictability that comes through in a relationship with someone who has extreme covert narcissism. And the themes that I see, it always feels like you're waiting for the next thing and you never know exactly how it's going to happen. And it's a slow erosion in how it plays out. And so it feels like if I could do that, but it's interesting as I feel the metaphor, I'm still taking Everly with me and I have to sit with if I need to take her or not. I don't know if what that actually is a representation of taking younger me, or if it actually is, I need to take Everly. And something feels a little murky about it, but I can still see me kind of pulling her with me. And she and I both feel better. But I wonder if there is this, like, I have to protect her in a way I was never protected. And it is me actually trying to protect younger me in a way I never was.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Wow. Well, we have covered a lot today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. We've covered a lot of ground.
Well, I think it's one of the things you and I talk about this all the time of like, regardless of where we're at professionally and the work that we're doing, we always have more opportunity to do our own stuff. And it's like, what beauty in being able to give space to wherever we're at in our healing and to allow it to show up and to also recognize and normalize. Like, people are walking around with all these feelings and all of these physiological symptoms all day long that if we can, it was an hour and 15 minutes roughly. And we hit on a lot more than people might hit on normally in a therapy session. Like, we could go faster, we could go further because of where we were at. But think about how much value, even in just one of those exercises, just one moment of pause and closing your eyes and reflecting and feeling your body or feeling your younger self and what that can do. And again, we could sort of exacerbate the process here because I could maybe move at a different speed with some of those things and we could touch on them. But even now with all of this knowledge and all of my skill set, I still need to go back. I'm going to be sitting with this for weeks, for months, to allow it to move and integrate. And so I think it is, it's one of, I think, the best ways we can all recognize of this is work that everyone deserves to do. And is ultimately, when we talk about that, living in alignment, it's the really necessary step of getting to that place.
Yes, and amen. Alignment, that's the word. Alignment with reality is what the bottom line is.
Yes.
Living in truth. And that's what this is. So
yeah.
Thank you again for joining me, Kyira, and being my model for everyone watching. We need people who are brave, who model this. And, you're going to model this for your daughter. This modeling thing is what we need to do. Just being vulnerable, being human, that fights shame and it inspires and it changes, our environment. So very much appreciated. Okay. Well, thanks for watching, you guys. And we're going to wrap up. Call it a day.